If you want to talk about good riding technique on an adventure bike, Adam Riemann is right up there with the best. He's become loved for his big adventures and his tutorial content, and recently I've spent a bit of time riding with him. As I was scrubbing through some helmet cam footage from the Big Bore 6-day ride I did in Australia, I noticed that you could see a bunch of good technique in the way Adam was squeezing the life out of his KLR 650, so let's break it down. Welcome back to MiniTip Monday. The most important fundamental technique for off-road riding is having great body position. I've made a fair few videos about this over the years, and whenever you watch great riders, they are always in a good position and balanced with the bike. You can see here that Adam is exactly the same, and that's especially the case on tighter corners. If I freeze this shot right here, you can see how much his hips have moved toward the outside of the bike. His shoulders and head are facing the direction he's going to, and that's a huge part of the equation. Let's run it back and watch it through again. The tighter the turn, the more grip he needs from the tyres and the more he moves his hip. If we roll it forward a bit more, you'll see him doing it here again. Doing this is part of letting your whole upper body turn in the direction you want to go, which very naturally weights the foot pegs. It's very simple in theory, but it makes such a big difference to how well you ride. The other little nice technique he does is the body position change to lower and slightly back when he's braking. Watch out for that as we roll through the next points and clips. A few years back, I made a video on trail braking when riding off-road. 50% of the viewers of that video loved it and it made perfect sense, and the other 50% think I am an absolute idiot. While two things can be true, in this case we learn a ton from watching Adam's rear brake light. I will caveat this by saying that sometimes it is hard to tell exactly where he comes off the brake because my lens was cracked on my camera, but let's take a look. As we roll into this corner at about 80 kilometers an hour, Adam starts braking here. You can see the front of the bike dive, and then he carries that braking pressure all the way through the corner until he's accelerating out again at the spot that he sat down. Let's run it back and you can watch it again. You can see he repeats this process again and again for most corners, braking and then carrying that light brake pressure all the way through the corner. There are a couple of spots where it looks like his brake light never even comes off, especially in switchbacks, and my theory is that he's still got the slack taken up in the brake lever, and that's triggering the brake switch. I know I ride like that a lot. Now, if you want to understand how and why he's doing this, I've popped a link in the description to a video on trail braking. Really, it'd be impossible to ride the speed we are here safely without having this technique and braking deftness. Now, the keen-eyed among you will have noticed that Adam doesn't stand up indefinitely. In this section, riding the KLR pretty quickly, standing up would have used a bit more energy because of how hard you have to push this bike to get it to go this fast. And also, sometimes it just isn't the best choice. So let's take a look at when he sits and when he stands. As we're rolling along this quick section, he is sitting down, and as soon as he needs deft control over his body or the bike, say a direction change or he needs to brake, he's up on the pegs. And then as soon as he's back accelerating, he sits down again. If we let it play, you'll see that go again and again. We get a little section here where we're cruising a bit more and he stays sitting. The key here is that at this speed, Adam isn't using a lot of his skill. His feel of the grip at the tyres and his technique is good enough that he could ride this speed side saddle eating a pie. As soon as he picks the pace up, it changes, however. Later on in the ride, Adam has a few moments where the tyres let go and he ends up sitting in slightly odd places or early in the corner and getting a little loose. But if we roll this section from start to finish, you'll notice all three of these elements at play to a really high level when he's messing around and pushing hard. I'll let it run for a minute before we point out the last thing that I noticed. So this is a little harder to see because it's subtle, but the last takeaway from Adam's technique is that he sets the bike's lean angle for a turn really quite early. If we watch this clip, he starts the lean very subtly just here. It's a fairly long way before the actual corner, and it helps smooth the turning portion out. He does exactly the same for the sweeper here, starting just before he touches the brakes. This helps the corner radius become less, and is something that is as much a feeling as anything else, and really important for developing flow through corners on gravel roads. Ultimately, it'll let you roll through corners faster, safer, and without having to be anywhere near the edge of your grip level. And there you have it. 4 simple takeaways from watching a great rider do their thing. I'll see you in the next Mini Tip Monday, and remember, life's better when you're riding.